For every kill you get, I'll give you an uwu.
For every kill you get,
All right,
I'll give you an ara ara.
For
every kill you get, I'll give you an ara ara.
Alright, bet. But wait, does that kill count? Okay. Yes, it
The topic of Valorant being a good game will always have a vague answer. Some people claim they've had better experiences in competitive games, while others simply think it's an S-tier game. But there's a big factor that ends up being the make or break 90% of the time when it comes to video games, and that being, you guessed it, the community. I've always considered Valorant the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures of video games, because the game and anime itself is actually not bad. If anything, it's really good, but Jesus Christ, what is the fan base? What is wrong with the community? Now, I understand that whenever the Valorant community is mentioned, your first thoughts are usually uwu girls, e-daters, the I miss her jets that are so edgy, dudes who think they're corpse, and honestly just pick-me's in general. I'll be the one that says this isn't entirely correct. Allow me to explain a bit. Your Valorant lobbies will change a lot depending on what game mode you're playing. For example, your average competitive experience will be a pretty average competitive experience, excluding the fact that my team is literally throwing every time, and there's always a smurf on the other team. Why is there never a smurf on my team, huh? Answer that. To any Riot devs watching this, why will there never be a smurf on my team? No, it's always the other team, bro. Meanwhile, the Instalog Jet's going 320 and has no comms. Riot devs, if you're watching this, I don't have a Riot gun, buddy. Sorry. Okay, I'm getting carried away here. So like I said, the competitive experience is pretty normal. You will get the occasional e-daters that like huddle up in their own little VC and refuse to comm to us the entire game, which is insanely infuriating. That's like 1 in every 10 games. It's not that big of a problem. That being said, if you're an e-dater, can you please comm, dude? Like, that's the bare minimum you can do. So, same for unrated. Unrated is not too concerning. Unrated, you usually have a lot more of a funner experience, I guess. Like, you're gonna run into a lot of people that are just like, just trying to have a good time. You see, these Valorant stereotypes, they thrive in the mini games. Whether it's Spike Rush, Swift Play, you name it. These uwu girls, these e-daters, these everythings, they're an actual plague in like the small game modes. So if you're trying to hop on Valorant and you're trying to avoid every like stereotypical Valorant player, you want to hop into either a comp game or unrated. That's where you're gonna find the most normal players. Now, if you're a viewer of the channel, I'm gonna be a broken record here. You've probably heard me say this a lot of times, but I'm gonna bring it up again. Valorant's content creators are probably some of the worst when it comes to gaming in general. You see, usually when it comes to gaming content creators, there's usually like a culture that goes around along with the game. Like, I guess a really good example would be, so you see, I originally used to play Rainbow Six Siege, and the culture, quote unquote, would be to have like a pretty edgy sense of humor. That's pretty to be expected from Rainbow players. Everyone would just make jokes or comments that makes everyone else go, whoa, okay, dude, you did not need to say that. While the culture in Valorant content creation is just the Schrodinger-Lee effect. For those that don't know what that means, that is a word that I came up with, where, long story short, instead of making like funny content, like good content, a lot of Valorant creators will resort to just making the viewers the H word, and it's unfortunately become a really big plague. Every other Valorant video you click on is just people like trying to seduce the rest of the teammates, whether it's doing like a mommy voice or, as mentioned earlier, a corpse voice. And it's really irritating, especially if you're like a Valorant player who just plays Valorant to play Valorant. And if they're like, I want to go watch some Valorant videos, and these are your only options, it becomes infuriating to some degree. Humor and inside jokes is a topic I've been wanting to touch on for a while now, because as mentioned before, every video game community has their own little culture. Like, my personal favorite is the Team Fortress 2 community. If you go on like any like TF2 subreddit, everyone has a very S-posting attitude. You know, it honestly speaks for itself. And see, these are the gaming communities that I love a lot, especially TF2. I cannot emphasize TF2. TF2 probably has like one of the most funniest like gaming communities, just because of how like goofy it is. It's a community that cannot take itself seriously in a good way. Now, speaking of gaming community that can't take themselves seriously in general, let me introduce you to Valorant. It's a funny game. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. I think I made a video or two about it before. Don't you dare even consider going to a Valorant subreddit. If you're looking for humor, this is probably the last place you should be going to. I'm telling you right now, scrolling through the Valorant subreddits, you will find either people being the H word or people who have been cryogenically frozen since like 2010, and now their entire sense of humor is just 2010. And I'm not saying 2010 humor in like an ironic way. No. Valorant is so unfunny, it's unfunny. Like, there's no irony here. People, I'm not even joking. I found so many memes straight out of like 2010 on this subreddit. Here's one of them. Look at this. These subreddits are so deprived of any form of comedy. It's impressive to a degree. And there we go. I think I'm gonna call it a day with this video. The whole premise of this video is I don't even know what I'm doing in this community anymore. Like, if I really wanted to, I honestly should have started a Rainbow Six Siege channel while I still had the chance. I used to religiously play that game with friends before getting into Valorant. Anyways, make sure you sub to the channel. That would be really appreciated. Really helps out small creators like me. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. See y'all on the flip side. Bye.